This couple created a shelter under their house to escape a nuclear war. They built a shelter under their house, but no sooner had the couple entered when a runaway plane crashed into their home. It caused a violent explosion. The husband, a scientist, thought the enemy had dropped a nuclear bomb, so he immediately closed the door to the shelter and put a timer lock on it. The half-life of nuclear radiation is 35 years. This meant that the couple had to be underground for 35 years before they could get out. Shortly afterwards, the couple gave birth to a boy. The people felt they had taken on the responsibility of reproducing the human race, and so the son was named Adam. Although there was an extra person in the family, but the couple didn't have to worry about supplies, because long before the government declared the Cold War, they had been preparing supplies for 35 years. In the shelter, the family could not only raise flowers and vegetables, go to the supermarket, they could also fish in the pond. As soon as Adam was a little older, Adam's father started teaching him all sorts of life skills. They even gave him the stocks they had bought. They even gave Adam a full set of baseball cartoons that they had managed to collect. On the day Adam turned 35, the door to the shelter finally opened. A cautious father donned a thick protective suit. The lift brought them to the surface. At this point their home had turned into an abandoned bar. The first time the bar owner saw his father, he thought he had seen God. Before he could worship God, the father had already walked out of the bar. He made his way to the street. First he saw someone picking up food from the rubbish. Then he met a strange man with a woman's face and a man's voice. The father was shocked. He thought the people on the ground had been turned into monsters by the nuclear radiation, so he rolled back to the shelter. The father told his mother in horror, "The world up there is no longer normal. They had to stay in the shelter to save their lives." Hearing his father's words, the mother was devastated. He shouted at his father. He said he didn't care how horrible it was up there. All he wanted was for his son to see the blue sky and the sea. The father rushed to persuade the mother. He had a heart attack by accident because there was no medicine in the shelter. So Adam had to take a trip to the ground. His mother gave him the money she had saved for decades. She told him to buy the medicine and then prepare supplies for a year or two before he left. The most you can do is stay out for a few days. This man has been in the basement of his house for 35 years. Today, for the first time in his life, he came to the surface. But as soon as he came up, Adam was treated like a holy son by the barman.
"Can you forgive me for my wasted life?"
Adam slowly pushed open the door of the bar. When he saw the blue sky above him, he felt the shock like no other. Passers-by saw what Adam was doing. They thought there was something new in the sky, so they looked up too, but they saw nothing. Adam was made to look like a fool, but Adam didn't even notice he was acting strange. He took a bus to a supermarket to buy supplies, but he soon realized that the supermarket was ridiculously expensive. Prices are not what they used to be. The $3,000 his mother had given him wasn't enough to cover his needs. Worse still, Adam also found that he seemed to have forgotten where his home was. Adam fled the supermarket in a panic. Once again, he got on a bus. On the way, he accidentally found a shop that pawned baseball cards. Adam was in for a treat. He rushed into the shop. He took out a set of limited edition baseball cards he had with him. He asked the owner how much he could get for them. Seeing that he didn't seem to have enough intelligence, he pretended to be generous and offered a low price of $500. Adam was about to agree to the deal. Eve, the shop assistant, couldn't stand it anymore. She took the baseball card from the owner. She told Adam that this little card was worth $6,000, so that's how a good deal gets messed up. The owner was furious. Eve was fired immediately. The two of them walked out of the shop together. Adam told Eve that he couldn't seem to find his way home. Eve thought he was trying to make conversation, so she said a few words and ran off as fast as she could. Adam hurriedly called out to her. He offered her 3 baseball cards to take her to a nearby hotel. Eve had to agree. On the way to the hotel, an old song from the 50s came on the car radio. Adam was so excited that he swayed his body to the music. Eve was surprised that Adam liked a song that was so old, but she didn't think too much of it. When they arrived at the hotel, Adam gave Eve his baseball card as promised. The two of them parted ways, although they had no identity cards. But Adam had a baseball card worth $1,000, so he checked into the hotel without any problems. But while Adam was enjoying the swimming costume advert on TV, Eve came back in a hurry. She felt she had only done Adam a small favor. She didn't think she deserved the baseball card, so she gave the card back to Adam with a sigh of relief. Adam already had a crush on Eve, so he fell in love with her completely. In order to get closer to Eve, Adam offers to hire her to help him sell the cards and buy enough supplies to live on. Eve reluctantly agrees for the sake of the pay, but over the next week, she witnessed a series of unbelievable actions by Adam. He emptied the entire supermarket. He even bought a whole truckload of yacht batteries. The truck driver was so intrigued, suspecting he was working for U.S. intelligence. After purchasing the supplies, Adam didn't forget his father's mission to find his girlfriend. He asked Eve, without blushing, to find him a girlfriend. He asked her to help him find a wife without a genetic mutation within 2 weeks. Eve thought he was just saying that, so she took the job. Eve's best friend was interested in Adam, because his every move was out of place in society. She tries to ask Shadam some questions, like when did Alaska become a state? And Adam was right on the money. Not only that, he also gave out a few cold tidbits of knowledge. The guy's best friend used these things. He figured out that Adam was either a rich kid, or he'd never been out of town before. Knowing that Adam wanted to skate, Eve and her best friend took him to a nearby ice skating rink. Outside the rink, this man lived underground for 35 years to escape nuclear radiation. He lived underground for 35 years to find a healthy woman to reproduce. He took out a box of valuable baseball cards, begged Eve to help him on a blind date. Eve and her best friend take Adam to a 1940s club. The tall, handsome Adam attracts the attention of the women in the room as soon as he appears. Watching Adam speak fluently in French to the beautiful women, Eve feels uncomfortable in her mind, and that's when two women approached Adam and asked him to dance with them. His mother's 30 years of dance lessons had finally kicked in. Adam and the two women were twirling and jumping around on the dance floor. They drew the attention of the audience. This made Eve even more angry, but before she had a chance to get angry, her ex came up to her and wanted to renew their relationship. Adam saw their intimate gestures. For some reason, anger flared up in his heart. He took it upon himself to provoke Eve's ex and fought him. Eve felt that Adam had nothing better to do, so she left the club in a rage. Late into the night, the boyfriend came back to the villa alone. He saw that Eve had a crush on Adam, so he deliberately said Adam had gone home with a beautiful woman. Eve couldn't take it anymore. She rushed out of the house to drag Adam back, and just as she inserted the car keys, Adam suddenly opened the other side of the car door. Eve falls to the ground in shock, and accidentally, and grazed her calf. Adam gently cleaned her wound, and sang an old love song to Eve. Eve was completely smitten. She couldn't help but kiss Adam, faced with the girl she loved. Adam finally found the courage to tell her the biggest secret of her life.
1962, when the bomb was dropped on Los Angeles, my parents were in a fallout shelter.
Adam also invited Eve to live with him in a sanctuary. Eve thought Adam was mentally ill. She kicked him out of the house in disgust. The next morning, Adam goes out shopping with his best friend. On the way, he overlooked the abandoned bar that had been built on top of the sanctuary. Adam was overjoyed. He immediately went back to Eve's cottage to tell her the good news. But then, the psychiatrist that Eve had asked to treat Adam had also arrived. Seeing that they were going to take him away by force, Adam ran away. Before he left, he gave Eve the key to his hotel room. He told her to dispose of the box of limited edition baseball cards. Eve and her best friend arrive at the hotel. Here they find a tube of toothpaste from the 60s and tens of millions of dollars worth of stock. All the evidence suggests Adam was, as he said, a man who grew up in an underground sanctuary. Eve regretted it, so she and her best friend took to the streets to find someone. Eve finally found Adam. The two of them embraced each other tightly. The relationship is now officially confirmed. Finally, Adam took Eve back to the underground shelter to meet her parents. The parents were very happy with Eve as their daughter-in-law, now that the major life events were settled. Now it was time to settle the issue of housing. Adam sold all his stocks and baseball cards. Overnight, he became a multimillionaire. Adam bought a partial estate with ease, and then he took his parents out of the shelter. When the dust had settled, Adam dared to tell his father. He had only recently learned of an important discovery. There was no nuclear war 35 years ago. The explosion in the house was actually caused by a crashed plane. His father was stunned to hear this, but he soon came to terms with the fact, and told Adam.
Everyone believes. Oh, yes, sir.
As soon as the words were out of his mouth, his father, a scientist, began to measure the estate with his feet. No plan